We need to talk about something that Star Trek fans bring up constantly. And honestly, it's kind of surprising we're even still having this conversation in 2026 and it hasn't happened. Deep Space Nine and Voyager have not been fully remastered. And if you've ever tried to go back and watch them after watching something like The Next Generation in HD, you know exactly what I'm talking about. TNG, it looks clean. It holds up. It feels modern enough to sit through. And then you jump over to DS9 or Voyager, and it's not that the shows are bad. They're fantastic. Most of us love them. It's a presentation hits you immediately. It looks dated in a way that kind of may pull you out of it immersively, and that's kind of crazy. The actual content of these shows, it's some of the best Trek that we've ever gotten. At least I think so. I think a lot of you agree. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, and I read every single comment on every single video, especially the Trek videos. So today, we're going to talk about the possibility of getting Deep Space Nine and Voyager completely remastered. Now, we've talked in the past about continuation series with both of these, but I think we can all agree that's probably off the table. But we are in a perfect time. We are going into the Trek Dark Ages, where this actually makes a lot of sense, and it's trending right now. So let's start with Deep Space Nine. This is, I think, the one that aged the best. Honestly, might be the strongest overall series in the entire franchise. I'll let you guys debate that back and forth in the comments, but I think it's got a shot. For me, I always lean toward TNG just because that's my childhood, but Deep Space Nine was right there as well. And of course, at the center of all of it is Benjamin Sisko. He wasn't Picard. He wasn't polished. He wasn't diplomatic all the time. He made tough decisions, and sometimes he made the wrong ones. That's what made him really interesting. You look at an episode like, let's say, In the Pale Moonlight, and that right there tells you everything about DS9. Sisko basically manipulates events, lies, indirectly contributes to someone's death to bring the Romulans into the war, and at the end, he just sits there and justifies it. That is not clean Trek morality. That's really messy. It's real. It's raw, and that's why people connected with it. DS9 was a darker version of Star Trek. Then you've got characters like Quark, who on paper is comic relief, of course, but over time becomes one of the most layered characters in the entire show. And then Odo, dealing with identity and loyalty. Kira, who's coming out of a resistance background and trying to figure out what peace even looks like. And then you have the entire progressing Dominion War storyline, which basically turned Trek into an ongoing war drama for multiple seasons. That kind of long-form storytelling, to me, was ahead of its time. So when people argue or they say DS9 deserves a remaster, it's not just the nostalgia glasses speaking. It's because that show holds up on writing and character level in a way that a lot of modern shows struggle to hit. I'm not trying to dog on Starfleet Academy, but I want you to look at both of them. Look at the layers and the complexity that was DS9. And some of you may argue back and say Academy isn't going to get a chance to go that long into layers and seasons and stuff. It's not the same. It's just not. That's not me downing it. That's just not even on the same spectrum as DS9. It's really not. And then Voyager, it's a little different, but it has its own reason people want it brought back properly. Voyager is more of that classic Star Trek formula. You got the exploration, the new species, new situations every single week, but there's a twist. They're stranded. 70,000 light years away from home, no backup, no reinforcements, and they have to figure it out as they go. That setup alone gave Voyager something really unique. That's kind of what attached me to it, because every decision mattered in different ways. They weren't just exploring, they had to survive long term. And then, of course, you've got Captain Janeway. Janeway is one of the most interesting captains because she's constantly balancing logic and emotion. She's making calls knowing there's no safety net. Some episodes, she's fully by the book Starfleet. Other episodes, she's making decisions that are way more aggressive because of the situation they're in. So then you bring in 7 of 9. Completely changes the show. Her whole arc of going from Borg to rediscovering individuality is one of the best long-term character developments of Voyager. If I sound like I'm pitching for these to be remastered, I absolutely am. Even the Doctor, come on. A hologram ends up becoming one of the most human characters in the entire series and goes on to be in multiple other series, as does 7 of 9. So again, it's not just people remember Voyager. Those characters were written really well. The stories were written really well. It all connected. It was cohesive. That's what makes this whole remaster conversation hit differently, because we're not talking about average shows that people want cleaned up. We're talking about 2 series that have some of the strongest character work and storytelling in Star Trek history. and they're locked behind outdated presentation. So, of course, people ask the same question. Why hasn't this been done yet? And on the surface, it feels like it should be simple. Most people think you just take the old footage, you clean it up, you upscale it, you're good to go. Boom, right? But DS9 and Voyager are stuck in this really awkward era of television production that basically makes that impossible to do in an easy way. They were shot on film, but finished on video. Now, that means if you want to remaster them properly, you can't just enhance them. You actually have to rebuild them. You have to go back to the original film, rescan everything, re-edit every episode, recreate visual effects, redo color. It's basically reconstructing the entire show from scratch. So that, of course, is where it turns into a business decision for Paramount, because we've already seen what happens when they try this. The Next Generation remaster looks incredible, but it didn't perform financially the way they wanted. We were happy. I was happy. So the studio is now looking at DS9 and Voyager and thinking, is this going to cost even more, take even longer? There's no guarantee it pays off. And that, I think, is where we're getting the disconnect. Fans are looking at it like, these shows deserve it. Give it to us. Studios are looking at it like that doesn't financially make sense. But this is where it gets interesting again, because this isn't the same conversation it was 5 or 10 years ago. AI is changing things rapidly. There's already fan-made upscales out there that you can look at. They're pretty solid. Not perfect, but good enough to show what's possible. And if studios can use that technology to cut costs and speed things up, suddenly this actually becomes a realistic idea. But even then, it's not guaranteed, because if it looks off, if it feels inconsistent, fans are going to notice it immediately. So if this does happen, it's probably not going to be a full traditional remaster like TNG. It's going to be some kind of hybrid, part AI, part manual rebuild. I don't know. I mean, then you've got the timing. Trek as a franchise, weird spot right now. We just put up a video saying Star Trek is dead. We are going into the dark ages. We, for the first time in a long time, are not going to have any active projects. Everything's slowing down. Projects are uncertain. There's real argument that they need something familiar to bring people back. And honestly, this is it for now, at least at the moment. A DS9 and Voyager remaster would do that. Built-in audience, proven story, strong characters, great writing. It literally checks every box. So I personally don't think this is something that's never going to happen. I think it's just something that we're waiting on. We're waiting for the right cost, the right timing, the right technology to all line up for Paramount to say, okay, let's give it to them. Because once it does, I mean, there's no real reason not to do this. Preserve Trek history. So until then, we're stuck in this weird middle ground where the shows are still amazing, but they're not presented in a way that people would expect in 2026. So I got to ask you guys, do you want full remasters of both? Are you fine with them the way they are? Do you like the classic nostalgia grainy feel? What do you think? And do you think this would be a bridge to kind of get us through until they can get back on their feet and figure out what they're going to do, whether it be Legacy, whether it be Year One, whether it be something completely different? We'll have to wait and see. But this is perfect. It's sitting right in front of them. Start with DS9. I'm telling you, everybody would rejoice if they actually did this. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you soon.